So guess what? So AOC went on the cover. She went on GQ. They did an article on her GQ. AOC reveals pessimism about running for president. In that interview, she says, I live in a country that would never let that happen, her being president. She says, my experience here has given me a front row seat to how deeply and unconsciously, as well as consciously, so many people in this country hate women. Now, why do you think she's shifting her rhetoric to that? Because that's a problem you can't fix. That's a problem that she doesn't have to fight Nancy Pelosi or the establishment to fix it, because she's not going to fix it. So now she wants to talk about this problem that she can't fix, instead of a problem that she can, because she's never going to fucking do anything to help you fix your problems. She's never going to fight for you. And that's why she's talking about fucking identity politics. And she's 100% wrong about this, that she could never be elected president because people in this country hate women. And you know how I know that's true? Because more people voted for Hillary Clinton than voted for Donald fucking Trump, you dummy. Maybe you won't be president because you're just that dumb that a pothead comedian can rip you apart. You're afraid to fucking even be interviewed by anybody. You got to go run to your pussies over at The Intercept. Jeremy Scahill give you a fucking softball interview. Have Ryan Grimm do why don't go have some shit? That's what she is. And you know who else knows what so here's what she said in this is what she said in GQ. She says, I hold two contradictory things in mind at the same time. One is just the relentless belief that anything is possible. But at the same time, my experience here has given me a front row seat to how deeply and unconsciously, as well as unconsciously, so many people in this country hate women. And they hate women of color. People ask me questions about the future, and realistically, I can't even tell you if I'm going to be alive in September. Oh, my God. And what weighs very heavily on me, and it's not just the right wing, misogyny transcends political ideology, left, right, and center. Really? You're kidding. Misogyny transcends political ideology. The grip of patriarchy affects us all, not just women and men, as I mentioned before, but also ideologically. There's an extraordinary lack of self-awareness in so many places. Which places? Which places? And so those are the two very conflicting things. I admit to sometimes believing that I live in a country that would never let that happen, meaning a woman of color become president. Well, guess what? We have a woman of color who's going to debunk what she just said, because it's all what she just said is fucking bullshit. And here we go.
I think some of this, there's some truth to this, to the point that, yes, is there misogyny in this country? Absolutely. But I think she's not looking at the big picture here. If we were to look back at the 2016 election, Hillary Clinton received the majority of votes. So the majority of American voters voted for the female candidate. If we want to bring the color aspect into this as well, Barack Obama won 2 election cycles in a row. So I think if we did not have those examples to point to, I think maybe she would have some type of a point here. But I would point to someone in reference to a woman of color as someone like Michelle Obama. If Michelle Obama were to run, I believe that she would win. And I'm not a fan of Obama or Michelle Obama, but I believe that she would actually win. So I think that AOC needs to look at some of the things that she's done and realize there's a reason why people are particularly criticizing her. I wish she put more of her time fighting for people in her district, and I've spoken to them, and she's not fighting for them. I wish she put more of her time and focus into doing some of these actions on the ground, which she said that she would do, instead of spending most of her time being a career politician and a celebrity.
Damn.
Wow. Maybe you could suck on that for a while. Wow. Put that in your force to vote and smoke it, huh?
That was great.
So that's why AOC is talking about misogyny now, sounding just like Hillary fucking Clinton, because she ain't going to fight for you to get you health care. She ain't going to fight for you to get a $15 minimum wage. She isn't going to fight for you to get you a student debt relief or marijuana made legal. She's not going to do anything. She's not doing anything. She's not doing anything. And just as Sabby Sabs said, she's not organizing anybody in her district to do anything. She's not organizing any of the 12 or 13 million people who follow her on Twitter to actually fucking do anything. She's not going to do anything. She's not doing anything. She will never do anything for you, and she'll never fight the power centers in this country because she's a fucking phony. She's a typical politician, and her game is to pretend she's a woman of color who fights for you. She's a woman of color who fights for herself first, second, and third. She doesn't give a shit about you or the people in her fucking district. She's another Chuck Schumer. She's another Nancy Pelosi. That's who AOC is. And if you think any different, you're a fucking chump on purpose. And guess what? Most of the people on YouTube are chumps on purpose.
I love how she always says someone's trying to kill me. It's like,
oh my God.
As if she's challenging the establishment and the deep state trying to take her out. She poses less of a threat to the establishment than Marjorie Taylor Greene. Do you know how sad that is? Do you know how sad that is that Marjorie Taylor Greene is being more anti-war than AOC, someone who campaigned explicitly on an anti-war messaging? That was one of the 3 basic tenets of the Justice Democrats, was supposed to be ending the endless wars. And Marjorie Taylor Greene is being more anti-war than AOC. So embarrassing.
I would not vote for AOC for president. And it's not so much about I would say her political ideology, because I came out of the Bernie Sanders movement. I heavily supported AOC when she ran the first time. My issue with AOC is I feel like she wants to be more of a celebrity and less of a politician. I would really like to see her organize with people on the ground. I feel like she has a large following. We could use that support, those of us who are organizing on the ground. And what I've seen from her, it seems like
if you organize on the ground, she'll say you're committing acts of violence. That's what AOC will do.
She just wants to go along with what the corporate Democrats in D.C. want. She's going along with people like Nancy Pelosi. We saw the switch from when she first entered Congress and she was protesting outside of Nancy Pelosi's office. And then she went from that to calling Pelosi Mama Bear. So it's very clear to me, I think she wants to be a career politician, which is what she said that she would actually go against. When she first started running, she said she didn't care if she was a one-term congressperson. And obviously, I don't think that's true today. So I think that the problem that I have with AOC is I don't feel like she's actually fighting for these progressive issues the way that she said that she would. And I feel like she's starting to use identity politics as an excuse for people not to support her if she were to run for president.
The only thing I'll quibble with is when she says she's starting to.
Right.
No, she's been doing that full throttle since she got in.
Jimmy, when you had AOC on your show, what was your initial impression of her?
I thought she was a Bernie progressive and that she wanted to fight the power. I thought that I believed her story. I did. A lot of people got suckered. Glenn Greenwald also got suckered.
Oh, I did too. I was just curious.
So that made me feel better that it wasn't just me. People who are way smarter than me, like Glenn, got suckered, and people like you got suckered too.
100%.
So people smarter than me, people more handsome than me. Who else got suckered? Anyway, Cenk Uygur got suckered. So people fatter than me, people. Come on, come on, don't fat shame. That's bad. I'm sorry.
Don't fat shame. Stay amazing.
I got to tell you, some of the happiest years of my life was when I was fat. I used to be fat. People don't know this. So when I first moved to LA, like a genius, I bulked up before I moved to LA. Did you know that? You know that. I went from about 170 pounds to about 210 pounds. I remember the day I decided I was going to eat dessert with every meal. And I did it. I did it for like a year and a half. And the way I justified it was I still looked good in a suit. You couldn't tell how fat I was. Well, I was only 9 years old. I mean, it's hard to look bad when you're young. And so I came out, I was fat. That's how
Still look good in a suit, though.
That's how I greeted LA.
Even without the cufflinks.
But anyway, oh, by the way, Here she is. AOC visits The View to praise Nancy Pelosi as the mama bear of the Democratic Party and chides Bernie bros. That's who she was. That's who she is. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez wears dress with tax the rich written out of the just Jesus. Oh, by the way, on Friday, Politico reported that New York Democratic Congresswoman and Democratic Socialist of America member Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez transferred $160,000 in campaign funds to a slate that includes CIA Democrats, right-wing congressional Democrats with intelligence and military backgrounds. So she's funding those people. And you know, the Democrats on the whole are funding MAGA Republicans when they run for office all across the country. You know that, right? And if you guys think that MAGA is such a threat to our democracy, why do you keep funding their campaigns? Because the Democrats are just like Republicans, and that's why they have to prop up people who are radicals to give you a difference in voting, because there is no difference between those two, Republicans and Democrats. Virginia Beach, Richmond, Arlington, San Jose, Miami, West Palm Beach. Go to JimmyDoreComedy.com for a link for all the tickets and become a premium member while you're there.